In the last cold days of 1776, Washington prepares his army for what may be the final gambit in the War of Independence. Few believe he can still be victorious. His own soldiers regularly leave the army as their commissions come up. An urgency creeps into everything and everyone.
By the time Christmas of 1776 approaches, everything has bottomed out. His army has shrunk to only about 5,000 men. He's lost the support of a lot of the people, and all appears to be lost. It truly is a do-or-die situation.
Washington makes a bold decision. He will strike the enemy at Trenton. On Christmas Day, Washington tells his army to prepare. After months of defeat and loss, they understand his purpose. The army will now take the offensive. They will be crossing the Delaware back to New Jersey. It will be a monumental task. Washington's men must ford a near-frozen river in a blizzard and get across fast enough to take the enemy before dawn by surprise. Yet Washington's leadership, his army, and the revolution all ride on the success of this singular mission. Washington himself will lead the soldiers into battle for the first time in the war. The general knows that if they fail, there will be no more chances. At 11 p.m., the boats begin to cross. It will be harder than they had even imagined.
Every school child in America is familiar with the painting of Washington crossing the Delaware, when he's boldly in the front of the boat, standing up, looking heroically towards the eastern shore of the river. It would have been nice, but it didn't happen like that. Nobody stood up that night, wisely so.
It was as severe a night as I ever saw. The frost was sharp, the current difficult to stern, the ice increasing, the wind high, and at 11 it began to snow. It was only with the greatest care and labor that the horses and artillery could be ferried over the river. Captain Thomas Rodney, Continental officer.
It takes most of the night to get the army over. It costs them severely in time. As dawn approaches, this surprise attack on the Hessian forces at Trenton grows nearly impossible. For a moment, Washington considers turning back. 5 a.m. The weather worsens and the temperatures drop even further. The soldiers, some with only rags on their feet, begin to succumb to the elements. 2 soldiers lay down in the snow, never to get up again. Everything now depends on speed and stealth. It is Washington's new way of waging war.
If he's victorious, fine. If he's defeated, escape as fast as you can and keep your army together. Move fast. Sneak attacks, surprises, midnight escapes, any trick a magician could pull out of his hat. That's how he's got to fight.
Washington had learned his lessons the hard way. Now he will change the rules. In a swift move, he catches the Hessians off guard. It sets off a fierce battle. Hessian soldiers scramble to grab their muskets and meet the enemy. Colonel Rahl wakes up to a battle already underway. He had been expecting something from the rebels, but nothing of this scale. Nor is this the same army the Hessians once met in New York. Now the Continentals fight with fierce spirit. In bloody, chaotic engagements, they hold their own. Trenton is a small battle in numbers, but it is a vicious and closely fought one.
Battle of Trenton is a brutal encounter. The Americans surprise the Hessians, who tumble out of their barracks, grab their muskets, and attempt to defend themselves. The battle lasts less than an hour, though. The Hessians don't have a chance because they're surprised.
It is Washington's day. Trenton sends a resounding message. The Continental Army is back, and Washington is their undisputed leader. In a year of hardships and loss, he has now learned how to fight this war. Yet Washington faces one more challenge before 1776 is over. December 31st marks the last day of many soldiers' commissions. Many, if not all, are eager to return to their citizen lives.
At the end of December, a lot of enlistment terms run out. Those men want to go home. He goes back onto the field, and he tells them, as heartfelt as he can, that you've done everything that America could ask of you. You've risked your lives, you've been in fierce encounters, and now I'm asking you to do it just one more time. And he waits, and nobody moves.
The men have given all they can. Now it is Washington's turn. To anyone who will re-enlist, Washington makes an offer of an additional $10 pay, more than a month's salary.
My brave fellows, you have done all I have asked you to do, and more than could be reasonably expected. But your country is at stake. We know not how to spare you. General George Washington.
And then one soldier grumbles, well, I might as well keep fighting. He steps forward. Then others follow him. And eventually, a little bit more than half the men in the army stay for the $10. But he doesn't have the $10.
Washington writes to Congress to request the emergency funds. For this trifling sum, the Army holds together and grows as news of Trenton brings new recruits. At the very end of this dark year, Washington has revived the Revolution.
Through most of the fall, there have been a number of officers who thought they could do his job better than he could, and a number of members of Congress who thought the same. That changes after Trenton. That criticism evaporates, at least for a while. And it seems that the tide has turned. At least the Army is going to continue to exist. And the Army is the Revolution.